What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. What is it, January 17th, heading into the divisional round of the playoffs. We got our prediction selection show going on with my co-host, Mr. Double Deuce himself. Ian, how are we doing this evening?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing good, Chris. Thanks, man. It's a little chilly out here. Probably not as cold as it is over there. So,
Oh, it's cold. It snowed yesterday. I got snow everywhere.
oh, wow. It was, we went out and tried to hit the sticks today, and I even brought a heater for my golf cart, and my hands were frozen. Brutal. Brutal. But,
Oh,
hey, at least
wow.
I'm playing golf, and I'm not worried about making snowballs, right? For sure. Yeah.
Sorry, I got echo. I'm being told. I'm trying to fix that right now.
Me, or is that on you?
Um, no, I think it's on I think it might be better, hopefully now. I don't know. I can't hear. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Oh, actually, I might have the wrong mic selected. Let me see. That's a good mic. How about now? Maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway,
I don't hear
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no golf for me. I can tell you that. I'd lose the ball in the snow.
Yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, I mean, cold weather. I don't know. It's setting up for a good playoff time, though. I think pretty much all these games are going to be pretty cold for the most part. I'm still being told I have echo, so I'm going to switch mics. I don't know if this mic's going to be any good. We will find out. Give me 1 second. Which mic do I want? Which mic do I want? Um, Not that one. Better. We'll find out if that one's any better. I don't
It's
know
a
why
lot
my
quieter.
answer
It's a lot
was.
quieter. I can hardly hear you.
Oh, okay. Shoot. Love technical issues on the fly. Um,
Especially a guy that is
mhm.
technical.
1 secundo. 1 secundo. Ian, fill him
Yeah,
in
you've had
while
fill
he's
time.
hopping on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, everybody, thanks for jumping on tonight. Obviously, the best weekend in the divisional round is this weekend. So we're really looking forward. We got some good games to talk about. We'll kind of go over how we did last week. Boy, we saw some good games last week, I think, but I think this weekend is even going to be better for us. Yeah, Chris, I hear an echo now too. So, Chris's team's still in it. Thank goodness. But now we get to see the real players come in. Can you hear me, Chris? No, I can hear you echoing on your side. Should we
All
go
right.
out
Is
and
that
back
any
in?
better?
There you go.
Louder?
Yeah, it's louder.
Yeah, but now I can't hear you. That's my problem.
Oh, that's
Let me fix where this audio is coming out of. Give me 1 second. How about now?
I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hopefully there's no echo. I'm hoping. I don't know. Find out. All right. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully it's fixed. Usually that mic does not give me a problem. I don't know what it is. Must be something going on today with that. I'm afraid you're going to have echo coming through this mic because I can hear you on my computer. It's going to pick it up probably.
Oh, yeah, probably.
That's what I'm a little worried about. Shit. What the heck?
Where's
Gotta love
Mac when you
technical
need him?
issues on the fly.
Where's Mac when you need him? You want to come back in an hour, reload it for till 8 o'clock?
All right. Maybe now?
You're fine. I can hear you. It's kind of tunnely. Joe, do you still hear an echo?
Yeah, Joe, is there still an echo?
Let me some.
How about now? I just turned something on. How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear
Um,
me all right?
yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Okay.
Hoping there's no echo. I don't know. I'll wait for someone to tell me. Still an echo from you both, of course. All right. Um,
D8, he's being funny tonight. What's the crapsy code?
yeah, I see that. Sorry, I'm having technical issues with echoes over here. Let me.
Maybe
Here we go. Here's how I'm gonna fix it.
if you mute all
I'm
the other
going to gonna see if I hear any echo. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. I'm not hearing an echo.
I'm not hearing an
Ian,
echo
say
either.
something.
I'm not hearing an echo. Are you hearing an echo? Joe, Joe, you still hear an echo?
Joe, do you have two streams up by any chance? Because I'm not. I just put it on my phone. I don't hear any echo. So I'm gonna roll with it this way, for now because I don't hear one. Still an echo. I just played the stream on my phone. I don't hear any echoes.
D8, ask Duracell if he's getting an echo.
So any echo?
Oh, he
I
probably
can't do anything more.
he
I
probably
can't do anything more setting wise on my end. I've played with all the settings. Um, so I don't know. It's curious to me because I don't know. I'm stymied.
Seattle Seahawks got robbed. They should be in the playoffs.
All right, I'm gonna roll with this because I'm not hearing any echo. So anyway, all right, let's talk playoffs, shall we?
Let's do it.
Talk
We're at
playoffs, baby.
Make 8 minutes into it. Let's figure out how we can get it.
You know it. You know it. All right. Anyway, again, if you hear an echo, I'm sorry. I don't hear one. And I have played with all my settings to get them as good as possible. So hopefully, I can't do much more. So if there is an echo, I apologize. Um, again, like I said, I don't hear one, so we're gonna roll with it. Anyway, playoffs, round one, wild card weekend. We were pretty good last week. The only game that really shocked me was the Chargers.
Oh,
What were they doing? Did they know they had a game?
they I can't believe as good as Harbaugh of a coach he is, how he gets people up and ready for a game. That game was terrible. I mean, just unbelievable. And then just to see, completely fall apart where both you and I thought, wow, Harbaugh knows how to coach, right? Thinking, oh, that should be something that's definitely doable. But just to see, I mean, the Texans look like the way better team in that game. And it was like, oh my stars. I mean, it was hard to watch. It really was. It was bad football by the Chargers, right? I can't say much about that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you. The Chargers, I'll front this up. They cost me a lot of money by losing that game, but that's beside the point. They could have had that game over with at the half.
Yeah.
That game should have been out of reach at the half, blowout. When you have turnovers early, you don't capitalize on those turnovers. And the one thing that I'm sick of is hearing how elite Justin Herbert is.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talk there. It's just, well, let's be honest. He doesn't have exactly the best receivers in the world, either. So he needs some support there. But still, I mean, that was that was one game that you just kind of want to throw away and say, don't even go back and watch the tape on that one, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's that kind of game.
you're right. He doesn't have good receivers. He has serviceable receivers, though. And I'll be honest with you, Lad McConkey made him look
He's a
better
real
than he
deal.
even was.
Yeah,
Because McConkey caught some balls that were not easy catches, and
yeah.
he made him look like he made Herbert. have a slightly higher passer rating than he should have had.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but out of the games that were last weekend, that was the only one that was just a real, you know, dud. I
Yeah.
really like the Tampa Bay, Commanders game right down to the last kick, and now they're coming out with stories about the Gonzalez kid that doinked it in, right, hit a Q
Mm-hmm.
shot off of the pull in, saying he's got some mental, some mental illness type stuff where he has situations like you saw him taking his socks on, put his socks on right, making sure they're right. Now apparently there's a story behind that was all over the news today, which is really cool. I like to hear that kind of stuff. But to watch that game come down, what a great game that was. I mean, obviously, the rest of them were there, but I'm excited about this weekend. Last weekend's just, those are the pretenders. Now everybody that's in these last, you know, 8 teams, you're talking about this is what we for. I mean, the divisional round is the round, right? I think there's going to be some games here. Maybe the best game of the whole playoffs, including the Super Bowl, is going to happen, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. But just to see, I love how you got, the Texans in there, the way they played in and out this season. Wow, to make it to the divisional round, great job coaching. CJ Stroud's getting his head spun. Having Nico Collins back, that's huge, being able to do that. And then you look at, the Commanders. I mean, kudos to Dan Quinn, man. I think what a
Coach of the
great
year.
job. Yeah, seriously. To be able to come in and take that team. I mean, me as a guy that was preaching having him come to Seattle, not that he would have done, better than McDonald here, but I was a guy, I've always been a Dan Quinn fan, to see what he's done with the Commanders as well. And they're sneaky, man. I think that game's going to be a little more fun than people think it's going to be. So, let's get in. Let's figure out how we can, what's the road trip going to look like to get to the Super Bowl?
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, let's talk NFC first. We're gonna go NFC this weekend first. Not gonna go in game order like we normally do. We're gonna go out of order here. We're gonna first talk about my Eagles. So I actually missed most of the Commanders Bucks game. I did watch the highlights, but I missed most of the game because I was driving home at the time. I did make it in time to see the fourth quarter though, which was definitely exciting. But Rams Eagles. Rams coming off a short week, beating the Vikings. I said it last week. I'm gonna say it again. Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts, and he looked awful.
Holy.
And the Rams did what they were gonna do. Right? They won. Um, I'll be honest, not a homer pick here again. But I think they're going to struggle a lot against the Eagles. Vegas has it 6.5 point favorites for the Eagles, over under 43.5. And you're going to see the weather be a huge factor here. They're calling for snow starting around noon um, in Philadelphia. That'll give you 3 hours worth of snow before the game starts. So we might see a classic snowball here. Thank you, Butch. Appreciate that. What's going on, my friend?
Well,
So Rams Eagles. Ian, what are your thoughts?
I think the Rams front four played so well last weekend. It was unbelievable to watch that team to come out, put a thumping. I mean, there was a lot of people, let's be honest, that really thought the Vikings were a shadow team, right?
Yep.
So many chances of not being as good as they were. I mean, the Lions put a thumping on them in week 17 as well, and to come back. But you're right. How much money did that cost, Darnold? I mean, we're talking millions because
I'm,
before that, they were talking about franchise tagging him. Now they're talking about letting him just walk because McCarthy sounds like he's coming along faster than what they expected. That's going to cost, he's going to cost him millions of dollars by just throwing up two duds. And you were right. He did not look the same that he was in week 10 or week, 7 during the season. It was like, what happened? Are you a rookie again? Are you back to the same Sam Darnold that played for the Jets and everywhere else that he's been? You know what I mean?
yep.
Because he did not look like a Pro Bowl quarterback, and that's what he is.
No, not at all. I mean,
Terrible.
I'll be honest with you. I think he probably cost himself 15-20 million dollars a year, not total, per
Yeah.
year. I mean, they were talking about him in the you know 3 year, almost 100 million. They're talking 4-year, like 115 is conversation I heard. I mean, he'll be lucky to get like 3 years, 60 million now.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna. I mean, there's going to be some needs from some quarterbacks. I mean, another great example is Russell Wilson. How much money did he cost himself losing 5 straight to end the season? That's another guy. But yeah, he was on a league minimum deal. But there's talk now out of Pittsburgh out here because everyone still loves Russ out here that potentially they re-sign Justin Fields and let Russ walk. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the quarterback spots coming out because, you know, but Darnold absolutely killed himself. Who I felt sorry for was Jefferson. He looked so frustrated that it was just like, just throw the ball anywhere near me and I'll catch the ball, right?
Literally.
It was definitely something that did. But I'm not going to take anything away from the Rams front four. I mean, they look like they didn't skip a beat missing Aaron Donald, right? Who's probably the best, defensive tackle we've seen in a generation. To be able to see them dominate the way they did, and then you've got for sure guys in Cooper Kupp and Puka and Williams. And they've got good weapons, right? If Stafford's not hurt and his elbow's okay, then they're legit. But I agree with you. Going into Philly when there's snow and you're talking about a pass offensive and you got the number one running back across the way from you, going to be running the ball with probably the best offensive line. Oof, that's a tough pill to swallow. And on a short week, no less. And you got to travel 2,500 miles. There's a lot of things going against the Rams right now, especially with like all the fire stuff going on.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what I was going to get into next. They're meant like obviously last week, they represented the city really, really well. I think, everything they did was great. But I mean, these guys are, personally affected by this stuff. And like, I don't know how they're going to be able to like keep suppressing that, like I know you can kind of do it here and there, but I don't know. And then, like you said, I mean, the best running back in the league in Saquon. I mean, the Rams played the Eagles. Earlier in the season, Saquon put up 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, 300
yeah,
total yards. He had close to 200 rushing yards and almost 100 receiving yards. And in the snow like that, I mean, listen, and Butch just said it here. The Rams are good, and they have a really good coach with McVay. I think McVay is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think the way to beat the Eagles' defense, and the Packers did with some success last week, is short, quick routes, right? Quick routes across the middle, quick out routes, especially with Nakobe Dean going down and Ryan Burks coming in. Like, the middle of the field is going to be open for them. The problem is if the weather is as bad as they say it's going to be, they're calling for 3 to 6 inches. So if the weather's going to be that bad, the passing game is going to be rough.
yeah.
And interesting stat here. I saw something. So on the road, in games where it's wet or snowing, Matt Stafford in his career is 1-8.
Ooh.
He has a 54% passer or a 54.1 QBR in those games. He's thrown as many interceptions as he has touchdowns. It's setting up for a recipe for disaster, I think, for the Rams. Honestly, again, great team, like you mentioned, right? Puka Nacua is a stud. Cooper Kupp, I think he was a stud. He's still very good, but I think he's trending in the wrong direction. Stafford's a clutch quarterback. Kyron Williams is a beast. Their defense looks insane. One caveat to their defense, though, I must say, Verse is a stud. He's probably going to win defensive rookie of the year. All right, I'm going to say that, even though I love Quinyon Mitchell on my birds. Verse is going to probably win defensive player of the year. I don't think he learned in all his years growing up in the area, because he grew up 2 hours from Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. I don't think he learned the lesson of you don't poke the bear before you come into the bear's den. Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
he was saying the Eagles fans were getting to him in L.A. They
Yeah.
played in L.A. That wasn't in Philly. That was in L.A. And he said what he said. It's never worked out well for anybody who's come in, said some shit against the Eagles, and then they have a game. I mean, could you imagine what the fans are going to do to him
Oh,
in Philadelphia?
yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just, be smart, right? Why would you give somebody an opportunity to have, I don't know how big, your stadium holds, but you give somebody some poster board like that, you can't,
45,000 ish.
yeah, that everybody's not going to go after him. What a mistake, man.
Yeah.
Say it to yourself, say it to your teammates, but whatever you do, you don't say it to the fans and let them come back and say what they want to say, right? It's just like, oh my goodness. So
I've only been in one louder stadium in my life, and I've been to quite a few. Only one louder stadium in my life, and that was with you in Seattle. But I can tell you the link is very comparable, very very comparable.
what's crazy is that as far as loud stadiums, the loudest is supposed to be Kansas City, but they have 14,000 more fans than we do, and it's not very much louder. I mean, you got a great game, right, when you came out to
Yeah,
Seattle, and
oh,
it's
100%.
everybody was pumped for that game, but I I wouldn't want to go in late January and play anywhere, whether it's Buffalo, New York, Philly, maybe even as far down as DC. I mean, DC's supposed to be really cold. They're moving the inauguration indoors because it's supposed to be so cold, right? Boy, I'll tell you, that is a big thing for a strong defensive team in the Birds, right? With the number one running back of the year and being able to dictate ball control. It's definitely going to be
Yep.
interesting, and I'm looking at some of the prop bets, and I'm looking, on the Rams side, I think Cup at 37.5. I think that's legit. I think I'll take the over on that. You look at Williams at 90 yards. I think I'm going to take the under on that. Plus, especially against the Eagles D and how the weather's supposed to be, I think I would take the under on that as well. And then,
Yep.
Stafford throwing the ball 32 and a half times. One, are they going to get the ball that much? Two, they might be losing, so they might have to throw a little bit. But I just don't think in that weather, you never see guys do really well in that. So, I'm really looking at it strictly as the under on 90 for Williams, and then Cup over 37 and a half. I think that looking at some of those, I mean, then you get on the Philly side, only 4 receptions for Devontae Smith, 4.5, or depends on where you look, 4.5. That could be a good bet. For some reason lately, he seems to be the guy to go to guy instead of AJ. I love AJ's over reading a book, and now the guy who wrote the book that he was reading actually got in touch with him today or something like that. I thought, man, that's pretty cool, right? To be able to see that. But Brown and him are both at 4.5 receptions. Who do you go with, right? Because one of them's going to be over. I just think there's so much going on with AJ. Now there's talking about Vrabel trading for him during the offseason and bringing him into New England with him and, come back and play with me type stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But, you're looking at only 17 completions for Hurts. You know what I mean? It's like, 1.5 TDs. There's some good money line parlay type bets, but I think the biggest 100%. One, well, I mean, they're saying Barkley at 125.5. I don't know, with the snow that you're talking about, in 3 hours, you could get 6 inches of snow easy. Then what happens? Then what happens? So just keep your mind open on some of those prop bets that are out there. For those of you guys can play FanDuel or even, DraftKings or anything like that. There seems to be some very achievable ones if you look at it. I mean, I'm not a fan of Puka's. Puka's at 87.5. I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Stafford at 216.5. That's about, it's amazing how smart guys in Vegas are, and they make you do this because you look at it and think, wow, okay. There's always one or two that kind of stand out to you. So those are the ones I'm thinking. I agree with you. I'm taking the Birds here. I'm taking them to cover. I'm going to stay away from the over-under at 43.5 just strictly because of the snow factor. scares me a little bit. This could be a 17-7 game, or it could be a 27-20 game. You know what I mean? So
I agree.
I'm steering away from that on the over under, but I'm taking the Phillies -6 for sure.
There you
It's
go.
6 on Fantasy Pro. So
Yeah. Larry corrected me. The link is 70,000. I'm thinking of the damn Wells Fargo Center. I think that's 44,000 or something like that.
that's
Anyway,
fun. Yeah,
yeah, I like the lines you said. One other one I like is Dallas Goddard over 3.5 receptions.
yeah.
I like that a lot, especially in those short fields. And then there's two other ones I like. Jalen over 39.5 rushing yards. I see him QB drawing quite a bit.
Hmm.
And then also I like Gainwell over 9.5. Um, I know it's not the most exciting bet in the world, but if they're going to be running as much as they're going to be running, Saquon's going to come out of the game here and there, and Gainwell will get his. I mean, Gainwell's averaging almost 5 yards a carry, so he comes in for 2 or 3 carries. He should hit that 9.5 line, so I like that. And like you said, I am big on the Eagles this week. I think might be a homer pick. I think the Eagles win by double digits easy. I think they're going to just blow the Rams out in this one. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be shocked if starters are resting in the fourth quarter. That's what I see in this game. The Rams, their offense does not impress me at all. Their offense is bottom third in the NFL. If you look even last week, right? I mean, the Vikings defense did not play that well, and the Rams still only put up 27 points. Mind you, 14 of those points, one was a scoop and score touchdown. The other one, they gave them the ball inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah.
You basically gave them at least a field goal there, and the Rams punched it in the end zone. So, take away those 2 points, and we're talking a 13-9 game.
Yeah.
The Rams should have dominated that game way more than that. So, their offense doesn't really make me shake too much. So I think the Eagles win this one, and I'm calling it now. Eagles first drive for the Eagles. You ready for this prediction?
Should I write it down?
Saquon, 3 rushes, picks up 20 to 25 yards. Okay? First 3 plays. Run, run, run. Move the ball about 20, 25 yards. Rams start cheat up, stack the box. Jalen to A.J. Brown, touchdown.
Ooh, there you go.
Write it down. I'm telling you right now. Anyway, all right, I think that's enough time spent on the Eagles. I just realized I've been for 30 minutes. I know I spent like 10 of it trying to fix audio issues. But I agree with you 100%. I think Eagles cover in this one. Like you, I'm not touching the over, the under for the sole purpose weather. I never touch overs and unders in any sort of precipitation outside. I don't like it. Cold weather, I don't touch over unders either. So mix the cold with the snow equals DGen is staying the hell away
Amen.
from the over and under. I like the Eagles to cover though.
Amen.
All right, other game in the NFC. This game, people are calling for a blowout. I don't see it that way. But Commanders and the Lions. Lions are 9.5-point favorites. Over under is 55.5.
That's a crazy number. Both of those numbers are extremely for a divisional round to be, not only 9.5-point favorites, but the over under being over 50. That's crazy. Yep. I mean, I just look at this and I sit back and I'm like, 55. I mean, trying to put some numbers together around that, what exactly does that look like? 31-24, and then you still lose by a half point. I think the Lions defense, I mean, even though they're missing a majority, I think what are they missing? 4 or 5 starters, I think, that are actual starters on the team in the defense.
Yep.
Commander's defense looks good. Bobby Wagner, I don't know why, the Seahawks didn't keep him around. The guy is just an, ultimate leader. Now, he can be beat, though, on when he's in pass coverage, right? I mean, he just doesn't have the legs that he once did. But it sure was nice to watch the young kid play, right? I mean, I really enjoyed watching Jaden Daniels. That throw he made to Terry McLaurin was just a dynamite pass, right? But you're talking about the offense, and they get David Montgomery back this week, which I think is crazy for him to be able to come back. And now you have a two-headed monster in Gibbs and him. their receiving core is their receiving core. I mean, how can you not like Laporta? I think he's an absolute stud. I mean, and he deserves it. But when you sit back and you look at this and you say, can the Commanders come in? One, weather's not going to be a factor here at Ford Field, right? If anything, it might be people getting slow getting there, but people will get there, right? You're going to have the Lions home field advantage. There's just so many tick boxes that you look at that and say, I kind of agree with you. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think it might be, you know, 7 to 10 point game. I mean, Commanders defense is playing extremely well.
Yeah.
And Goff has been prone this year to make a couple of dumb mistakes too, right? It seems like
Mm-hmm.
every game he does one or two things stupid that then you say, oh, now I see why the Rams traded him for Stafford, right? And a bunch of picks. But, still it's the Lions. I mean, their offense is, just a juggernaut, especially if they have Montgomery in there. Anything around the goal line, that guy's getting the ball, and as a leader, I think he's going to give him a little spark too, right? You look at, for him, over under, what I really like to see is on him 2.5 catches. I mean, I think he's going to have more than 2.5 catches, because they don't throw to Gibbs as much as they do him, you know. Receiving yards 14.5. I think especially if he gets 3 catches, I think he's going to average more than that. But most of those are swing out of the backfields. But I think the money line here at -5, 522. Why would anybody take that bet? I mean, I really don't understand why they would even throw that number up. But I think obviously, if you're looking at 9.5 point favorite, it's got to be something like that. But uh, I think the Lions will cover. I think it'll be close, though. I think it'll be close to 9.5 points. I really don't like. That's not a bet that I would try to make the most. I would probably do some parlays here. There's some really good parlay bets that if you want to get into, we're more than happy to get into. But I think the Lions will win the game. I think they'll play the Eagles, which is what everybody wants to see coming out of the NFC for the last 5 weeks. I think everybody's been having an eye on those two teams to make it into the NFC Championship, which I think will be a great game. But the Lions just, it's all going to depend on if Goff gaffs it, you know what I mean, and makes some bad throws, and being able to, throw a pick, a pick like we're getting ready to score and he throws a pick or something like that, what it is.
Yeah.
But I think with the double-headed giant back in that run game, that's going to open up Laporta. It's going to open up St. Brown. I mean, Jameson Williams might even get something on the board here. I think I'm picking the Lions, and I'm taking them, minus the 9.5 if you twist my arm. But like I said, I'd much rather play I would take the under here. I don't think there's going to be 55.5. That's a ton of points to score. So that's where I'd be leaning.
All right, I agree with everything except the spread. I at that number, I'm taking the Commanders. I
Yeah.
would buy it down to 10. I'd buy the half point, take it to 10.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
the Lions win this game. I'm not concerned about them winning. I don't that number though is tough to cover. 10's a tough number. If you can get it to 10, it's
Yeah.
a big spread, especially in a divisional round. And I don't think the Commanders are a pushover. I really don't.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I think there's two teams in the NFC that could beat the Lions, and one of them is the Commanders. I think the Commanders have a legitimate chance. They have to play basically a perfect game against the Lions. The other team that I think can beat them is the Eagles, solely based on their defense. I don't really care about the Eagles' offense against them. I think the Eagles' defense will stop the Lions' offense enough to win that game. But I do think the Commanders have a chance here. I would not take them on the money line, but if you are looking to sprinkle something, you could. Again, don't see them winning this game, but I do think the dynamic ability of Jaden Daniels to extend plays and extend drives is going to be huge for them. If he can convert on some fourth downs against this game's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think, and especially this Vegas line. Because 9.5 points is a lot. I know the Commanders are a 6 seed, but they are a very good team still. You mentioned their defense is good. I think their defense will slow down the Lions. I do not think they will stop them, but they will slow them down enough. The thing for the Commanders to win this game, though, in my opinion, they're going to need to score on 80% of the possessions they have. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Even if they score on 75%, I don't think it's going to be enough. They're going to need at least 3 points on 80% of their drives, or else they're going to get beat. And that's why I think the Lions will win this game. I think the Commanders will put up enough points to make this close. But ultimately, Lions will win the game. Fourth quarter touchdown, field goal. But I do like the Commanders on the spread. In terms of other props, I really like Austin Eckler over 2.5 catches. He's
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels looks for him a lot when he does come in, especially on third down, little check down route. So I like him over 2.5 catches. Um, I also like Daemi Brown over 2.5 catches. The Lions are going to queue up Terry McLaurin. They're going to try to shut him down. I think they're going to try to stop Zach Ertz over the middle. So I look for these other guys to get involved quite a bit here to free up some of the bigger name guys on the team. The other one I like is Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Again, I think the Lions are just going to continue to score here as they have been all season long. But I like the Commanders at 10. I like them at 9.5. I like them better at 10. But Lions win this game, and we see an Eagles-Lions NFC Championship.
Chris, one last thing I just kind of want to throw in here. One of the things that really scares me is you've got a rookie quarterback, probably going to be the AFC Rookie of the Year, right? And maybe overall Rookie of the Year in just what he was able to do this year. I had him on a couple fantasy teams that carried me into the playoffs. But that's a big show to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying he can't handle it because he's handled everything so far. But you've seen, Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have gotten to this spot where he's at coming on Saturday, that it's going to make it tough, and to have that kind of visibility and those kind of distraction as a young kid like he is right now. I mean, I can say that as I'm a 56-year-old guy. I can say that. But that's going to be the big key. I think that's going to be the key. Can he throw the ball 30 times? Can he run the ball? Can he, dime it out? That's going to be the question, right? Can he take the pressure? Now, it'd be different if Aiden Hutchinson was coming at him, right? You and I both know that. Hutchinson's after that'd be a different story. But
if Hutchinson was there, I legitimately think this line would be over 10, probably closer to 12.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's how important Aiden Hutchinson is to the Lions pass rush.
100%. My sleeper pick, though, on this is I think Bobby Wagner can't cover anybody anymore. Don't get me wrong, he's my favorite Seahawk player outside of Cortez Kennedy to ever play on the defensive side of the ball. And I'll tell you what, though. I mean, Laporta at 4.5 over. I think he's going to be the guy that's basically bringing it to it, right? I really think that we're going to see him at some point, and I think that's going to make the difference right there is Laporta.
Yep. Yeah, I think he's going to have a good game. All right, so on the NFC side, we have the Eagles winning and covering. And then the Lions, we both have them winning spread-wise. Ian's leaning Lions. I'm leaning Commanders. Again, both of us don't like the spread either way. If you twist my arm, again, I take the Commanders. Twist Ian's arm, he's taking the Lions. But we both see an Eagles-Lions NFC Championship game. All right, let's shift over to the AFC. We're going to talk Chiefs-Texans first. This is another game where there's a big line. Chiefs, 8.5-point favorites, over under 41.5. Texans, they looked good besides the first quarter and part of the second quarter in that game against the Chargers. They shocked the hell out of both of us. We thought the Chargers were going to go in there and take care of business easily. Chiefs obviously had a bye. Chiefs Texans though, in Arrowhead, tough place to play. Give me the Texans on the spread. That's all I have to say about this game. The Chiefs have not covered a damn spread all year long. I think they've covered 4 spreads all year long. I don't see them covering the spread. I do see the Chiefs winning the game for 2 reasons. 1, it's an Arrowhead, and 2, not even Patrick Mahomes. They have just such better coaching between Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. It's going to make it tough on the Texans offense. But I think the Chiefs win. I think the Texans cover. I like the 8.5 number a lot. I see this being legitimately a last-second field goal for the Chiefs, how they always do it. Tie game. Mahomes gets the ball. They get a flag, extends the drive, field goal. There you go. Chiefs win. Chiefs win. Taylor Swift is cheering and writing a new damn song.
Yeah. So I look at this game and I've got a couple of question marks that really stick up in my mind. You've got all the Chiefs stud players have had 3 weeks off. So either one, they're all healthy, or two, they're going to be a little rusty in the first quarter. And I think if the Texans can come out in the first quarter and put 10 points up in the first quarter, that's really going to make the Chiefs, really sit back and go, oh, geez. And they might start pressing. But you're right, Dale. I mean, Andy Reid's the best coach in the NFL right now. He's an absolute genius. Just look at his coaching tree from guys that have come from his coaching tree, and they're all over the place. The guy knows how to get teams prepared for the playoffs. I mean, he did it when he was in Green Bay. He did it when he was in Philly, and he's done it when he's been in the Chiefs. But yeah, how many games has the Chiefs won strictly by Mahomes coming down the last, 2-minute drill and end up winning this year, right? I mean, they haven't been the juggernaut. Are they a true number one seed? Man, I don't know. I mean,
No.
yeah, they beat the Bills.
No.
I think the Bills are a stronger team than them right now. I agree with the 8.5. I wouldn't touch that spread either. And you look at, if you look at it and you say, okay, 41.5, yeah, that's legit. But there's some really good prop bets here. I mean, I
Oh,
don't see,
man.
just looking at some of these, and I wish I had a place where I could make some bets. But you just look at it and it's
You
like,
know a
oh,
guy you can call?
yeah, I do. I know a few of them. Trust me, there's a guy that does it for me right now in Arizona. So, you look at these that you know, I think this game, I think it's closer than 8.5. I agree with you. If you twisted my arm, I'd probably take the 8.5 as well. Just, I think that's I might try to buy it up, maybe a half or a full point if I could and just take the lumps with it. But I think it's going to be over 41.5. I think they're going to score enough points to where, you're probably looking at something, 28-20, something like that. I could see that. The questions that I have is, Mixon 2.5 receptions. I would take the over on that. I think Mixon's been playing well. I just, having him at 76.5 yards rushing, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I sit back and you look at Schultz and Stover on the that's a lot of ball going to the tight ends. Is Stroud going to rush for over 14.5 yards? I mean, I don't see that. But I mean, I think there's some really good ones there if you really want to sit down and look at it. As far as D Hop with 2.5 receptions, somebody's going to have to catch that ball.
25.
Yeah,
I love
Pacheco.
D-Hop over 2.5.
Yeah. Well, and look at Pacheco, him as well. It's over 1.5. I mean, come on receptions. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy sat out half of the year. I think he's going to come back and really want to show exactly what he did a couple of years. Was it last year that he did that when he came back and just like towards the end of the season absolutely lit it up? I'm not a big fan of the, anything that has to do with Juju Smith. I don't want any part of that. But Hollywood Brown too at 3.5 receptions. That might get something. That might be a little something there. So I agree with you though. 8.5 is a lot to give up here. If you're going to twist my arm, I'll take the Texans plus the 8.5. But I'm liking the over on the game. Butch is taking the Rams plus 6. Holy
I
moly!
agree with him on the other two. I don't agree with the Rams, but hey,
Hey,
one
everybody's
of us will be right, right?
exactly. Somebody's going to
Um,
win.
one of my this is a really strange thing here. One of my favorite bets in this game, not gonna lie, is on the first half. I love the Texans at plus 4.5 in the first half.
Oh
And
yeah.
I also like the Texans on the money line in the first half. Plus 245, Texans to win the first half.
Wow. Yeah.
I like that. Because if you look at these Chiefs games, how many of these games are they trailing at the half? Quite a few. He had a Swift talking to at the half, and then they come down. If you are into these like box type parlays where you can take like Texans to win the first half, Chiefs to win the full game,
Yeah.
love that. I'd have to find the odds on it. I'd have to look. But what's it called? Out of like, the bets that I like, D Hop over 2.5, like that a lot. Um, I like Travis Kelce under, believe it or not.
5.5.
I don't bet unders that much, but I think his line's at like almost 60. He's barely hit that all year long. He's hit it in a couple games, but I, especially with Hollywood Brown, with the two other tight ends in Watson and Gray that they play, like Kelsey, he's washed at this point. He's still a very good tight end, but you can see he's lost a step, not even half a step. He's lost a full step, in my opinion. So I like his under, believe it or not. But I really like the Texans in the first half. I really do. I think they're going to come out firing. Like you said, if they scored 10 points in the first quarter, I mean, I think they have a chance of winning the game outright. To be honest with you, that might be just the anti-Chief in me because I hate the Chiefs with a passion. But from a betting perspective, um, D Hop over 2.5, and then I like the Texans on the first half spread. Sprinkle Texans first half money line. Texans spread full game. I do think the Chiefs win, but Texans spread.
I also like Patty over 1.5 touchdown passes. I think they're going to score, probably in the, mid-20s anyways, and he's going to be looking to
Yeah.
throw the ball. The other one that I think is sneaky that people aren't looking at is him rushing for over 25 yards. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? That's a lot to ask, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I agree with you. I think the Chiefs win this game, but I think the Texans cover, with the 8.5. Like I said, I might even look at getting an extra half point. Like you said, I like doing that. But, the rest of them, you look at them, it's like, oh, man, I don't know. So, but I think when you look at it from, the Texans standpoint, it's going to come down to what can their defense do? Who can they shut down? The question is 3 weeks without them playing, how rusty are they going to be? Not only that, but maybe how much time did they get to practice stuff that they haven't been practicing lately with D Hop and
Yep.
Hollywood Brown in there and Worthy in there and you know you know Sam Pernine even. I mean, there's another guy that was basically washed off that he picked up, and he seems to be this really good mix and match as well, especially catching the ball in the backfield type routine that seems to be kind of sneaky. But I agree with you. I picked the Texans. I mean, excuse me, the
All
Chiefs.
right.
Texans plus the 8.
Game of the week, potentially game of the year, with the exception of a potential Super Bowl matchup. But in my opinion, game of the year, Bills, Ravens in Buffalo,
Oh,
primetime Sunday night game, baby. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this game. Like, I will not move. I'm actually going to be in Florida for the Eagles game and for this game. I leave tomorrow. So I will be watching these games at bars. If I wasn't in Florida, I'd be at the Eagles game on Sunday. Unfortunately, I will not be there. But you will not see me leave my bar stool during this Bills Ravens game. I am incredibly excited for this one. Bills are Bills are 1.5 underdogs. Ravens 1.5 favorites. Over under 51.5. Game is in Buffalo. It's going to be frigid out there. Ravens aren't, a bad cold team. They have cold weather themselves. I don't think Buffalo's supposed to get really too much snow or anything like that. So see what happens. But what are your thoughts on the Bills and the Ravens?
Yes, the Ravens put a thumping on them earlier in the year, right? But we both know that this is the game, like you said, potentially of the whole year, depending on what happens when the Super Bowl, right? But
MVP showdown.
yeah, MVP showdown, which I think Josh Allen is, he's a beast, man. To have a guy that's, what is he, 255, 260 running at you, I think
Mm-hmm.
he's going to have a ton of opportunity to run the ball. Yeah, I think they're talking about snow in Buffalo. They're talking about frigid temperatures in the low single digits. Lamar's never played in a cold environment like that. How do you handle that? How do you handle a frozen ball? You remember there's been games where they call them the ice balls, right? When they're throwing
Yep.
balls and stuff like that. Cook has done amazingly well at running the ball from Buffalo. Buffalo's defense, although the Ravens has really clutched up in the last 5 or 6 weeks. I mean, there was a time there where hey, it was not pretty on their defense. But you also have the main man behind it, give him the rock and let him run. I mean, it's funny how the Texans just kind of said, you know what, you're old, we don't want you anymore. And the Ravens are like, let me eat that up, right? So I think they have this wrong. I think the Bills should be favored. You're at home, even though they got beat. I'm taking the over on that. I think you are the under, excuse me, but I'm taking the Bills, plus the points. Right, I might even do the
Money
money
line. I don't even need the points. Money
Exactly,
line.
right? Just do the money line. You only get what's the money line? 120 or something like that. I can't remember
It's even
exactly.
odds on FanDuel right now.
But I mean, Henry's going to be a big guy. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
51 and a half in that weather, I don't think there's a chance in hell they score 51 and a half. I would definitely parlay that. I'd take, probably the money line plus the under. I mean, that's the bet out of all these games, which shocks me as it's probably one of the most easiest ones for me when I'm sitting here looking at it. You know, Henry, rushing the ball for 105 yards. That's debatable on what happens there. Or 96 yards rushing. Excuse me, 105 total yards. I think Lamar thrown for 220. That might be a stretch. Especially in the weather that they're going to be playing in.
And if
20,
Zay Flowers is out,
especially with Zay Flowers out, right? I mean, you're basically going to be throwing a lot to Likely and Andrews, I believe. Who else are you going to throw to? Bateman? I'm not a big fan of that, right? But you look on the other side of the ball and you say, man, where are we going to get it from? Kincaid finally clutched up, had a good game the week before. He had his longest catch of the year. He's somebody I was really high on, but, to have him save for 3.5 catches, I don't know if that's going to do it. One of the sleeper guys I think might be Curtis Samuel. You know what I mean? He did well the last game. I'd like to see him come in and do something. But I think Josh Allen, it's all going to be about what that guy can do. Can he throw for 235 yards? I don't know. 8.5 carries. That's a ton of carries. But truly, when you look at it and you say, okay, can he throw 2 touchdowns against that defense? Man, I don't know. It's strictly because of the weather and stuff like that. But you look at it, 47.5 yards. They've been saving him for this game to get him to run the ball. I think he's going to run the ball. I think he's got a chance at being the leading rusher for Buffalo in this game.
yeah.
They know this is it because they've lost in this round for the last couple of years. This is the hump where they got to get over. I think there's more pressure on them to win than on the Ravens to win. Ravens are peaking at the right time. But here's the X factor. And when would we ever think about this? Justin Tucker has been the worst kicker of his career right now. If the ball's
Never
coming
thought
on the
I'd say
line,
that.
no kidding. The guy's, I mean, instant Hall of Famer, right? But just to have such a rough year, yeah, they say, okay, well, he thinks he's found it. I don't know about that because when you get into it, I think this might come down to a field goal. And I'm sure hoping that it's Buffalo kicking and not Justin Tucker because I'd hate to see him miss one and go down
Cost them.
and cost him, right? But like I said, I'm taking Buffalo. I'll take the 1.5. I don't see the money. Well, I don't know what the money line is. What was the money line? Did you remember seeing
Even
it?
plus 100.
Yeah,
Even.
plus 100. I mean, if that's truly the case, I'd take the 1.5 just for shits and giggles, right? You know what I mean? But definitely a parlay there. I mean, that's what I'm looking at. That's what if I was to lay it, that's what I would be at. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Justin Tucker's definitely a huge question mark,
yeah,
especially in the cold.
yeah,
Like, if he was kicking in the warm weather, I'd be, he has the yips a little bit, but it's the warm weather. You can figure it out.
yeah,
In the cold, man, it's hard to kick a ball. It's really hard to kick a ball in the cold, and if you are kind of off, you look really bad in the cold. So
yeah,
yeah, I think Justin Tucker. I mean, I see him missing an extra point and a field goal in this game. And like you said, though, I do hope that that's not what costs them because I do love Justin Tucker. I think he's one of the best kickers to ever play, besides maybe David Akers, but that's debatable. I mean, Justin Tucker is probably better, but again, my Eagles-ness is going to come out. Anyway, I see the Bills winning this game. I don't care about the 1.5. I really don't. I take them on the money line. Couple props that I do like though. I like Rashad Bateman over 3.5 receptions, especially with Zay Flowers out.
Mhm.
Obviously Mark Andrews is going to get targeted. Likely is going to get targeted, but Lamar's been looking Bateman's way a lot recently, and I don't think that stops here. Um, the rushing yards are tough. I think these lines are a little high, but I'm not even considering taking the under on any of these guys rushing.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen's going to have a game. Derrick Henry's going to get his, obviously. Lamar's going to be scrambling. So I think you're just going to see a heavy, heavy run game here. Very few passes, honestly. And you're just going to see literally a tandem of Lamar and Henry running and then Cook and Allen running all over the field. I do like the under here as well. Not a big under fan in general, but I do like the under. I think it's a lot of points for these guys. And especially in a game where there's going to be so much running, it eats the clock. So that's why I like the under a lot in this one. I'm seeing, you know, probably 5, 6, 7 minute drives down the field minimum. You might see a 9 minute drive here and there. I know these offenses are pretty quick in general, but with all the running that's going to be happening, I do like the under there as well. Um, but yeah, no, this is the game of the week. This is the one I'm the most excited
Oh
for.
yeah.
I think we have a Bills Chiefs AFC Championship. Bills are gonna have to go into Arrowhead, and I think this is the year that Josh Allen stakes his claim, says I am the Chief, and he beats the Chiefs in
There,
Arrowhead.
there you go, man. Oof. Well, I got to wait and see what happens this week before I make a call on next week's game. Yeah,
I'm just calling it now. I'm calling
yeah.
it now. But no,
But I
I
agree with you. This Bills Ravens game is this one might go down in the books. I mean, even at a 24-21 game, you're still under. And
yeah,
that's
by
a
a
lot of
touchdown.
points. Yeah, that's a lot of points to be given up. That's why I'm saying if you can parlay the two of those together, and
Yeah.
I think that's a great bet, especially in the weather. They're talking about it being just you're talking about late in the day. I mean, that's going to be cold. I mean, let's just hope the wind doesn't blow. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
If the wind doesn't blow, man, that 32 and a half pass attempts by Josh Allen, you can throw that out the window. But I'll tell you what, he'll cover that 48 and a half rushing yards with that if the wind's blowing.
Oh
That
yeah.
guy's a
Oh
beast.
yeah.
He's kind of like, oh gosh, what's his name? I can't remember now. Cam Newton. Yeah, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Remember when Cam Newton was young like that and he used to run the ball? Another big kid,
Mm-hmm.
just really hard to bring down. But Josh Allen, I think this is his time to shine. It's time, he's been fooled a couple of times and getting into that AFC championship. Let's let him in and let's let him have a chance. I really like the kid. Could you imagine if they would have had another decent, give him a different receiver, right? Somebody better than
Yeah.
Samuel. Team could have been a lot better. If Diggs didn't go crying off and saying, "Oh, I'm not getting the ball enough," and okay, yeah, how much ball did you get then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they brought in Amari Cooper, who's nah at best. And then, Khalil Shakir's been having a year, but still,
100%.
Khalil Shakir wouldn't be a number one receiver on any other playoff team.
Yep,
Like, if you think about it, he wouldn't be a number one receiver on a single playoff team.
yep, I agree
But
with
even maybe the Packers, maybe. But
you. Yeah,
I would argue that Christian Watson would be over him. Obviously, he's not going to be a number one receiver on the Eagles. He'd be a third receiver on the Eagles.
yeah,
On the Ravens, he'd be with Zay Flowers. You're maybe a 2, maybe a 3. Fourth best receiver probably on the Chiefs. We're talking. He wouldn't be a number one receiver on any team. So, what the Bills have done with what they have, props to them. I don't think their season's over. I think they're going to continue on here. I was just looking at FanDuel. I was just playing around. So if you take the Eagles money line, the Lions money line, Chiefs money line, Bills money lines plus 290.
wow,
The 3x bet almost.
yeah, that's pretty good.
I like
Jeez.
that. I might have to place that one. We'll see. But I don't like laying big money lines like that though. It
Yeah,
pains me a little bit to lay those lines. But no, I think we're set for a great weekend here. We'll cap it on Monday with the college football playoff as well.
for sure.
If anyone's into UFC, there's a sick UFC card on Saturday.
Oh yeah,
What a
we're all over that one.
sports weekend.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, you're gonna have to come up for air at some point. It's like, geez, get your popcorn, get your beverage of choice, sit down and get ready for some football, man. I look
Just
forward to it, man. I'm ready.
bring a damn cooler next to the couch. That's what I was
Man,
thinking. Don't even bother to get up. Just bring a cooler in, put it right next to the couch, and just be sitting there cracking a cold one, and
yeah.
don't leave the damn couch.
Yep. And the other side, you have a cooler on one side and a crock pot full of meat on the other side. Whether it's chili
Yep.
or if it's, you know, pulled pork sandwiches, one of them where you don't have to get up, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we're in for a treat this weekend. And I'm looking forward to it. We shall see how it unfolds. Recap. We both like the Lions to win. Um, Ian likes them to cover if you twist his arm. I like the Commanders to cover if you twist my arm. Both like the Eagles to win and cover. We both like the Bills to win and cover. And we both like the Texans to cover, Chiefs to win.
There we go. For sure.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Joseph did bring me back to reality here. He said I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom at least once or twice. Joseph, I'll be honest with you. I probably have to go to the bathroom once or twice a quarter if I'm sitting on the couch drinking that much beer. I have the bladder the size of a freaking walnut. It's brutal. So yeah, I'd have to go to the
No
bathroom. But
wonder why you
luckily,
don't. No wonder why you don't drink when we roll dice.
oh, I can't. I can't. I literally have to leave. That's why I don't. I like if anyone ever plays craps with me at the table, you will see me grab like one water, one Diet Coke every like 2 hours because I'm gonna have to pee. It's legitimate. You
It's
know what? The
legit.
funniest thing. This isn't football related, really. This is craps related. So anyone who's into craps, you'll hear this one. Some of you have probably heard this story already, but at Jeff at his meetup last March, so last year, or maybe 2 Marches ago, I don't even know. Um, we were all getting crushed that weekend for the most part, right? We go over to the Golden Nugget. And Adam's having an absolute monster role. I mean, I'm talking he's in the mid 30s at this point. You know, our racks are all full. Um, Bets stacked on the table, and they bring a chip fill in because we were just cleaning them out, right? I have never seen a shooter take a bathroom break mid roll.
Oh my god.
Well, let me tell you something. While they were filling the chips, half the table cleared out. And luckily for Adam, the high limit room is right behind the craps tables at the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. He ran in there to go to the bathroom. Me and two others are running across the casino to go to the bathroom because the bathroom's not that close to the craps tables in the Golden Nugget. We're running to the bathroom. Some of the girls are running to the bathroom, and we make it back. They're still finally counting the chips. Adam's in his zone, ready to go. Didn't miss a roll. Like 7 of us went to the bathroom. Hilarious.
I always look for a table close to the bathroom myself because if I'm, especially if I'm having a couple and getting rowdy as I like to do, it's you got to be close, man. You got to be close.
Yeah,
You know.
you do. But all right, well, Ian, appreciate you coming on and doing
Anytime, my
this show
friend.
with me. We hopefully you guys have a great weekend watching sports. I know Ian and I will both be having a lot of fun watching these games. Hopefully your team wins if they are playing this weekend. If not, hopefully you're rooting for the Eagles or whatever other team you want to root for. But I would be rooting for the Eagles if I were you. And yeah, I think we're in for a treat. I think we're next week we got some great matchups if these games play out. I mean, Lions, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs. What a weekend. I mean, what a great Sunday of football right there.
1-2 against 1-2. Could you imagine that? That would be crazy.
Yeah. And it's not like it's there's a steep drop off between 1-2. I legitimately think like the twos could be the one seeds.
Yeah. Well,
You
what's
know, like if
classic
it's
is they've had a wild card team like in the last few years, right? There's always been a one wild card team that's in the hunt towards the
mm-hmm.
not in the Super Bowl, at least in the in the championship rounds. But man, I would love to see that too. I mean, I'd love to see 1-2, 1-2, and it's just like old fashioned. Let's get it done, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Let's get it done is right.
I'll tell you what, right now, as a Seahawk player, I'm going to do this. If Buffalo wins and they're going to the Super Bowl, I'm ordering a Josh Allen jersey.
There you go. Well, I already have the Saquon jersey in the cart.
I
On
bet you
Fanatic.
do.
I'm waiting.
do.
I'm waiting. I want it with the Super Bowl patch though when it comes.
I hear.
But we'll see what happens. So anyway, appreciate everybody watching. Again, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy all the sports. If you are consuming some adult beverages, please be safe. Please do not drive. Call somebody. Call an Uber. Sober up, and make sure you're fully sober. We don't want anything happening to anybody. All right. So again, hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy the sports, and we will see you next time.